Welcome to the Dog Trainers Podcast, a podcast created by dog trainers, for dog trainers, or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dog Trainers Podcast. My name is Mariano, that's Brent. This is episode 22, and we just want to take time today to thank y'all for listening. Now, we'll be getting back to our normal stuff in the next episode here, but we just figured, let's take a day. You know, we've had so much success, so much support lately. The podcast I was just looking right now is up to close to like 2,000 downloads, which is, we were at 1,000 like 2 weeks ago, you know, and I'm sure that that's pretty typical for most podcasts. Things grow like, you know, exponentially. I was thinking incrementally. That's the opposite, I think. Things grow exponentially. I want to thank you guys so much, and you know, just give you a little bit of what we've learned so far, what we think, you know, from what we've learned, how we think this could benefit newer dog trainers, and also some stuff we've got planned for the future to keep you guys excited. And we'll dive right in. But before we do, you can find us on Instagram. We have a Dog Trainers Podcast Instagram now. It's new, so sorry that there's a little lack of content there. We are kind of busy, but it's at Dog Trainers Podcast. It's all one word, and we'll have a lot of great content up for you guys very soon. Over to you, man.
What's up, everybody? It's Brent. Again, as Mariano said, we can't thank you guys enough for how much love and support that we've gotten from you guys in the world, right? Whether they were emails, whether they were shout outs on the Instagram, on the comments on the YouTube channel, like just thank you guys so much. You know, when we started this podcast almost about 5 months ago, right? I think the 24th. So we started February 24th. Just scripting what we were going to try and do and doing our first recordings. And we recorded that like 4 or 5 times because it just wasn't right. We were trying to get in the vibe and the flow of everything. And then now we finally got this flow going. And this is one of the most exciting things I do all week, is to be able to sit down here with Mariano, think about what it is that you guys want as an audience and how we can add value and how we can, you know, like we'll be on the phone, me and Mariano, while we're training dogs, you know, on a walk or while we're driving in traffic, you know, going to a client, because we really just want it to be right. And we really want to try and bring something that's different, bring something that can help you guys grow, be it with your dogs, be it with your clients, with your business. So yeah, thank you guys so much just for this opportunity. Like, this is of such a wonderful platform. And we love it.
Yeah.
And we love it.
And it's crazy too. It's crazy what little things you learn, you know, when you're podcasting, because Brent and I have been friends for a long time, and we've done a lot of content together too. Before we ever started this podcast, we've done YouTube videos and stuff like that together. We've written stuff out together when we were working at the same kennel in LA. And it's funny how we you know, now we live in different cities. I'm in Phoenix and he's in LA still. But it's funny how we can talk for hours and hours, but like when you're podcasting online, it is kind of hard to find that flow. And I'm really happy that we've taken the time to do this whole thing, because it's I think a very valuable skill set. I mean, especially in today's day where like online lessons and things are becoming a little more prevalent. And you know, even before this whole thing, you know, just being good at doing things, you know, by the internet are a valuable skill, and they're going to remain a valuable skill, I would imagine, moving forward. You know, so it's been fun. It's definitely been different, like having to talk to you through a computer. But you know,
Yeah.
when stuff opens up, like it'll be nice. We'll try to get some episodes in person. I know we've got a lot of stuff planned that I don't want to give away just yet. But yeah, man, we've been grateful. Do you want to give shout outs to some of our listeners?
Oh yeah. Let's go ahead and start from the beginning. We want to give a big shout out to Melissa out in Ecuador. I don't know her company's name off the top of my head, but her last name is Melissa Velez. Wonderful, wonderful dog trainer. Love watching her content. You know, both me and Mariano come from a Latin background. My family's from South America. His family's from Mexico. You know, we're just really grateful to have a wonderful Spanish speaker following us. And, you know, it really hits close to home. We want to shout out to our boy Mac out in Dublin, Ireland. What's up, Mac? Thank you so much. Mac sent us some of the funniest, just sound bites, and it was great. It just brightened up our days. So thanks, Mac, for that love. Don't you want to go to Dublin some point,
dude? Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, I was telling him, I was like, I no joke, I'm going to Dublin very soon. And now that we have that connection with Mac, I will be out there. So Keep a room open
love
for me.
Love it. Yeah. So much love to you, Mac. Brad and Haley over at Red Beard Dog Training. Thank you guys so much for just sharing our podcast and checking it out. Yeah, we really appreciate that. Let's see, Tyler Urquhart out in Canada. He commented on our Michael Ellis episode. He's a big Michael Ellis fan. And I'm fortunate enough to say I'm going to be visiting Michael Ellis next month. So really excited about that. We can't forget one of our guests and also a very, very talented dog trainer, Shona Smith from WeHo Dog Training, West Hollywood Dog Training. She is an amazing supporter. And actually slowly becoming an amazing friend. So we're very excited to have her on, hopefully again in the future. But thank you again for your online support and your sharing and everything. Got a shout out to Tyler Muto and Michael Ellis. I think Michael Ellis was so gracious with how much he shared our episodes of the podcast. So thank you again, Michael Ellis. You are the man, seriously, and you are dope. Let's see who else. Logic Driven Canine. Thank you so much, man, for reaching out to us and just commenting on the podcast. And yeah, thank you again. I don't know your first name, but Logic_Driven_Canine. Guys, go ahead and check him out and follow him. Awesome, guys. Yeah, so those are our shout outs that we have for now.
Let me talk a little bit about what we've learned so far.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I definitely want to get your input too, because I know that you're a little newer to podcasting than I am. But still, podcasting is one of those things that like the topic changes the format a lot, And when my background in podcasting is I was working for a company in Folsom, which is like right outside of Sacramento, and it was called Golden State Media Concepts, and we were doing podcasts from a movie review to another one for music review, social media stuff, and the other one was like a health and it's been a while, sorry, a health and wellness podcast. But shout out to Golden State Media Concepts. I miss you guys. I love you guys. But it was 3 of us per episode, different topics that were a little less like in depth, So with me and Brent, dog training, I mean, it's something that we both know so much about that it's been just a different feel. And even again, we've done content before and it's been a different feel from that because shooting video is just different than shooting a podcast. But what do you think?
Oh, totally. I think this podcast is cool because it has a very quick refresh rate, right? Like every single week we got to bring something new, and I like the challenge,
Right.
and I like diving in. Like there are times where I'm thinking like, oh, I don't know what we're going to talk about in this podcast, and then all of a sudden, as I'm going to bed, I go, I got it, and I'm just like, I know what we're going to talk about, and that's usually when I call you.
I was going to say, you fucking call me, and I'm like, yeah, cool.
I literally call him or text him at random hours. Me and Mariano, we talk to each other a lot, trying to bring you guys good content. And so it's really, really fun. I think it's a little reminiscent of when I used to teach at a dog training school, right? And I really think that what I've learned, back when I was teaching dog trainers, I had to like really double check, make sure I knew what I was talking about. I'd have to research to make sure that I knew how to explain it in a simple form. I had to lay out a lot of lesson plans. I had to kind of connect the dots of how this concept is connected to that concept. So it's a little reminiscent of that, but it is very, very different because like in a school setting, you can actually see your students and you can see if they're getting it. You can see if they're not getting it. You can see if, they can participate right with you right then and there. And maybe you can re-explain yourself to make it clearer to the class versus in this podcast, like we don't know. The only way that we know what you guys are thinking is whether we see them getting downloaded or we see the stream numbers or we see the shares or we see questions from you guys. And that's, again, why we really ask you guys, send us questions, comments, give us some feedback because we'd love to see how we could tighten up this formula that we have.
Yeah. And just make the conversation two-sided because you're right. We shoot these a few like we put them up Mondays. We shoot them a few days before that just to give us the time to edit and everything else. So definitely when you guys give us that feedback, and again, it could be, the form of just like subscriptions, likes, downloads, whatever the case, but, or just good old fashioned feedback, it lets us know that you're getting benefit from this, which is why we do it, and we just want to keep that in mind moving forward. And I think that a cool thing, even though podcasting kind of takes away that like live aspect of it, the way that we or any podcaster offsets for that kind of thing is we take the time to research the topic and formulate our thoughts on the whole thing and really try to
Mhm.
dwindle it down so that we know it's going to be concise and it's going to make sense and it's going to stay on topic of what it's supposed to be. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about what that in and of itself, that process of kind of boiling down what we're going to talk about has helped us individually just in our own private businesses because we are both full-time dog
Yeah.
trainers for our own companies. And so I think that there's definitely a huge skill there that I really want trainers who listen to this to take away from this, which is, you know, start a podcast if you want to, but that's not what what I think would really be beneficial is you should take time to write out your thoughts. It could be on
Mhm.
crate training, it could be on reactivity, it could be on whatever the topic. Write it out for yourself. Really take time with it. Give yourself time to make it make sense and make it nice and concise and clear. And then try to go back to it, even if you give it like a few days, and try to make it
Mhm.
shorter and shorter and
Mhm.
shorter. And don't do it to the point to where it's detrimental to the information. I mean, don't make it so short that you're leaving things out, but make it as short as it can be, as concise and as therefore like fetching as it can be,
Mhm.
while still having everything in it that you want to have in it. I think that that's a valuable skill set because the only other alternative for me is I talk basically at my girlfriend dog training stuff and then she goes insane because she can only say I don't care like so many times before she's willing to shoot me. Um, but it helps though. Sometimes talking just kind of to yourself but out loud, it helps a lot.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I think, what we've learned from some of our amazing guests, and I've pulled so much inspiration in a bunch of different ways that I'll explain next. But, Tyler Mudo, one thing that always resonates with me is dog training can be mentally stimulating if you allow it to be, right? Or intellectually stimulating if you allow it to be. And it is, and it has been for many, many years for us. Michael Ellis in the Art of Teaching episode, we really talked about the importance of writing it down, recording yourself, learning from yourself, keeping a journal, right? Everything that you're saying right now. And it's so funny because, as I've been doing this I've been doing this for a while, and in my company, I am more of like um, the administrator, right? So I'm dealing with the clients, I'm talking, and so a lot of my actual working of dogs has lowered throughout the years, because I have assistants and I have other trainers that I train, that take care of the actual day to day conditioning, right? And just doing this podcast has really inspired me to actually just get back behind the leash every day, to make sure that I'm with my trainers every single day, to make sure that things are getting tighter and that we're not forgetting our philosophies and we're not forgetting, the intelligence of the dog training and the experience that we've created over the years. And so, yeah, I want to thank our special guests for coming on and just kind of kicking us in the butt, or kicking me in the butt, to again be a better leader, be a better boss, be a better innovator, be a better dog trainer. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you again to Tyler Mudo and Michael Ellis.
Yeah, and Corey and Shona and all the other amazing guests that we've had on. And I think that the cool thing is, when you have conversations with dog trainers, it it's amazing. I mean, obviously, Michael Ellis and Tyler Muto are going to be insightful. It's almost like impossible to not be, right?
Right.
But it's amazing. There's so much out there, so much information that you learn. Sometimes you can learn the littlest thing, from someone, or it could be a huge, like, whopper of information. I think when we had Corey on, Corey Chavez, Corchaw Canine in LA, or Corchaw Balance Canine, I'm sorry. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One thing that he told us, I think that still sticks with me, and I think about it all the time, is the importance of reverse engineering the goal. So you have a
Yeah.
dog where they currently are. You talk to the client about what the issues currently are, because when you meet them in person, you see, not only is there the dog and their issues like in a nutshell, but then there's the person and their issues in a nutshell. And then it's how these
Mm-hmm.
two things work together.
Mm-hmm.
Corey
Mm-hmm.
would sit there and explain to them, listen, you're here and you want to be there. So what we're going to do is look at the goal and we're going to take tiny steps backwards to reverse engineer and create this blueprint until we end up with where you are right now. And we're just going to start
Mm-hmm.
taking those steps one at a time. And I think that that was
Mm-hmm.
an amazing bit of insight, and we can't wait to have him back on. But yeah, just gaining new perspectives, having these opportunities to talk to trainers from different viewpoints of the spectrum. And we've been reaching out to a lot of people. I mean, we're waiting to hear back from some, and we're constantly reaching out to new people every day. But we do that to trainers all over the training spectrum.
To be honest, it's kind of on like the stalkerish side, right? Like we're going on like websites and we're looking for emails, and if we can't find the emails, then we're looking for like secretaries, and then we're reaching out to secretaries, and then we're going on Facebooks, and then we're messaging Facebooks directly. Like it's a little stalkerish. But guys, if things work out, we got an amazing, amazing list of guests coming on. We're super stoked.
You called us stalkers, dude. I'm thinking of like dark. I'm thinking of like an old timey like Darkwing Duck, big hat and like trench coat, sitting there typing away in the shadows, and all you can see is like light from the eyeballs. But no, definitely. I mean, I brought that up to just point out the fact that I realized Brent and I kind of fall into the whole like quote unquote balanced training category, which we're trying to recoin something here. So stay tuned for that. But we've been reaching out to pure positive people, to different training ideologies, and we want to talk to everyone. One of our biggest motivators for starting this podcast, I mean, not only was it to kind of remind young and new trainers that there is a lot of information out there, and it's easy to get kind of overloaded, or it's easy to want to bounce back and forth from this method to that method without having given it time to work. But more established trainers like Tyler, like Michael, like Corey, like me, like Brent, we've gone through all that too. It's not you. You're not doing anything wrong, or you're not anywhere like in the evolutionary process of being a dog trainer that you shouldn't be in. And honestly, that just mixed with all the shade that people throw at each other in this whole thing, pure positive versus corrections versus whatever, and all that stuff is crazy. Everybody's got their methodology, everybody's got their reasons, everybody's got their science behind everything, but we all just want to train dogs, and we think that whether we agree or disagree, there's no need for the anger. And so we wanted to take a neutral stance and give an opportunity for anyone to come and talk.
Right. 100%. And so, we understand that this platform has a lot. We have a lot of responsibility to you guys. Again, it's called it's called Dog Trainers Podcast. That means it's yours. If you're a dog trainer, this is your podcast. And so we really need your guys' feedback, because, there tends to be this. I remember when I was teaching a lot, my biggest, like when I give workshops or seminars, my biggest issue was like, I only wanted to talk about things that I thought were interesting. Right. And what you realize is sometimes when you've been doing something for so long, what you think is interesting might go over someone's head. Right. It's like if I start talking about quantum physics, or if I start talking about, the meaning of life, right? Like some people aren't ready to hear that stuff, or they don't necessarily want to hear that stuff just yet. Right. And so what we really want to hear from you guys is, what are the issues? What are the circumstances that are difficult for you guys? What are the client interactions that are difficult for you guys? What's hard for you to teach? Are you having a trouble, with a method? Are you having trouble with application of a tool? Are you having trouble with, something? And we just want to get these situations, these problems that you guys have, because in essence, between me, Mariano, our special guests, we want to be able to add value and give you guys answers and an outlook on those things that are problems, and hopefully give you guys some solutions. Right. In a strange way, it's kind of like mentoring you guys through the podcast a little bit. But the only way we can do that is if we actually get these issues from you guys directly. Because I could sit down and maybe come up with 10, 15 problems that I remember having when I was a kid, or when I was a younger dog trainer. But that's just my experience. It's not your guys' experience. It's not your reality. It's not your truth. So I really want to hear from you guys and know, what is your circumstance? What is your issue? And we want to help as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, and there's just also no way for us to account for experiences that we never had. Like, like we were talking about Mac in Dublin. I mean, I have no idea what it's like training a dog in Ireland. I know that some parts of Europe have like certain restrictions on tools and things like that. And I have no idea if other parts of the world have things like that in place. They might, but if they do, I have no idea what the culture of dog training is like just among the people. Like, these are things that we would love to know. And these are things that would help us, because again, the whole point of this podcast was, we're not perfect. We're not like the world's best dog trainers. We just have both gotten to a place in our careers to where we're always still learning, of course, but we're comfortable enough too to be able to help out younger trainers. Meaning that we've got like
Yeah.
good information that we've been there, experienced, like Michael and Tyler were talking about. There really is no alternative to just good old fashioned time with dogs and just gaining that experience and seeing what happens
Mhm.
and learning all the different ins and outs and the variables and how you deal with them. And so, we've had time to kind of digest all this stuff and we just love to talk all the time. So we figured why not make it like useful. Um,
Yeah, at least help somebody
yeah,
out
but
there.
but that was the whole point, was we're along for the journey just like you, and we just want to bring you along. But that's where we need you to kind of dive in, help us out. We wonder if we can ask you guys to do us a huge favor, actually, which is we want to start doing some Q&A stuff. Okay, so that's one of the big reveals that we've got coming up here. For what we've got like in the works. We want to start doing some Q&A episodes, which we know people love that kind of thing. We know like there are some other trainers like Jeff Gelman, Sean O'Shea. A lot of guys do that kind of thing as it is, and we want to throw our hat in the arena too. So maybe consider throwing us some questions. You can do that by either reaching out to us at dogtrainerspodcast@gmail.com or just dogtrainerspodcast on Instagram and direct message us. It's not, there is no the like THE. It's just Dog Trainers Podcast at either Gmail
Mhm.
or the Instagram. Please send those out to us if you have like regular, just feedback or direct questions. We'd love it either way. That, and we've got some awesome guests in the works for you guys. And I'm gonna let Brent talk a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, we got some awesome guests. Just I want to riff on that a little bit also. So we were a little slow to the social media game, guys. So we do apologize. Again, we're running businesses, and we're also trying to do a great podcast. So we've kind of lagged on the Instagram. But again, you guys, those of you guys who've added us on Instagram, you guys added an Instagram page with no content on it. So thank you. I can't imagine like how many people like saw it and was like, oh,
What?
there's no content
Yeah.
on it, didn't add us. So thank you guys. If that was you, thank you so much. If you guys are listening to this podcast, no, that's our real Instagram. Like, go add us again if you didn't add us the first time. But we're also on YouTube, so check out our YouTube channel. So previously, me and Mariano were actually hosting our YouTube videos on our personal business pages. Now we've created a whole Dog Trainers Podcast YouTube channel.
Mhm.
So go ahead and look that up. We also have a Facebook. And we also have all of our videos up on Facebook as well. So check us out on that, guys. So our 3 platforms, we got YouTube, we got Instagram, we got Facebook. You guys can leave comments, questions on any one of those 3 platforms or all the platforms. Why not? And me and Mariano are pretty good about getting back to you guys right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to say that. But what we have in the works, guys, I don't know if you know, but the coolest dog training channel on YouTube, Upstate Canine Academy with Tom Davis. We were fortunate enough to get him on the podcast coming up this very, very soon. And he's a wonderful dude. He's a super wonderful dude. Getting to watch his content over the last couple of years and to just kind of see the production development and the growth, the business and the growth of him and everything like that. Man, he's a very, very talented, very passionate dude. And we're going to have a very good episode from what I'm thinking. I think it's going to get everyone in their feels a little
Yeah,
bit.
100%. When we talked to him, it was, I mean, Upstate Canine. I've seen these videos before, and I was telling him about this. Like, I've seen this stuff like a couple years ago. We were talking about a specific video that Brent and I had watched of his, and it was funny because we didn't watch it together. We just had both seen this one video because he has a
Mhm.
lot, and one thing that we really talked about, which was another reason that really kind of reinvigorated us with this whole podcast, was just, and it's not just him, but he was telling us about, you get a surprising amount of like negative feedback from people online, and everybody's like, oh, well, I would have done it this way, I would have done it that way. And YouTube is full of like, know-it-alls, I guess. And regardless of content, really. And so it's important, I think, for young dog trainers, just like established dog trainers, because apparently even Tommy Davis can be, you know, hated on by people on YouTube. But it's important, I think, for people to understand that everybody's got their 2 cents, sure. And of course, we're talking within the realm of like normalcy. Like, make sure you're using appropriate methods and tools and doing the right thing. But you're never going to please everybody. And I think
Right.
for that reason alone, it's important to kind of build that network of friends and let somebody share the weight with you. Like, these people, they weren't there. They didn't have to deal with the dogs that he had to deal with and so on. And that goes again for all other dog trainers. I'm not trying to put Tommy on blast. That's, he's just one example, but actually just the day before yesterday, me and Shona were talking about some other guests that we're hoping to have on here pretty soon, and same thing, exactly the same thing. They're a little,
Jeff Gill,
yeah,
Shona.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but same thing. They're like they're a little weary these days of like being on other people's stuff because of all the hate, And I was like, I can totally appreciate that, but I just want to reach out. And in fact, I mean, hey, if you guys want to help us out, reach out to them. Let us know. Like, we're all friends here, and we'd love to have them on. And it's not, this is all just normal, fun conversation, and there's no reason to be afraid. But yeah, I mean, we've really got some fun ideas for guests, and we're gonna try our absolute best to get as many helpful and trainers that can really help impact your guys' training and your lives overall.
Yep. Totally agree. Well, guys, you guys are probably the most important part of this journey. Like in the beginning, it was just us trying to share as much as we could think of at the time. But now this is picking up some traction, and we need your guys' involvement in this podcast. So please send us the DMs, send us the Facebook messages, send us the emails, send us the comments on YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much. We love you guys so much. Anything else you want to say?
No, not for now. I mean, just reassure everybody that this podcast is for you. This journey is for you. It's, we're all in this together, and yeah, send us that info. Thank you guys for your support. We'll keep it up. You guys keep it up. And I look forward to it, man. This is going to be a great, I want to see where we're at, in another 5 months.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening to episode 22 of the podcast. If you go ahead and like this podcast, go ahead and comment down below, and make sure you guys subscribe, right? You guys can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and all major podcast providers. You can go ahead and email us with any questions, dogtrainerspodcast@gmail.com, and go ahead and go to our new Instagram and Facebook page, which is just Dog Trainers Podcast. All right, guys, much love to you guys, and we'll see you guys in episode 23. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast, a podcast created by dog trainers for dog trainers, or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.